The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
What is going on? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. We are filming this live in front of a studio audience. We are live on YouTube. If you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. We're also simulcasting this. Actually, we're not simulcasting this on X right now. Did let me for some reason. I guess they don't like me anymore, but we're not. So we're just over here. We're just over here on the YouTube. So we are, like I said, we got a cool little studio audience, if you will. That's the live chat that's here every week. If you're watching this in replay or listening in podcast form, go ahead and say something in the comments. Do not let this conversation end. Most importantly, we do invite you to come over here on Tuesday nights at 7 Central to the YouTube channel, Ghost Tactical, and be part of the cool guys, the cool kids table, if you will, or probably the rejects, honestly. Let's just be honest. But yeah, we're just going to be chilling tonight. Today, for the record, is Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. It is tax day, folks. For some of you, you don't mind tax day. For some of us, tax day sucks. So some of it sucks more than others, right, Chris? We'll just talk about that later. But yeah, welcome. We are, like I said, we are live. So out there, if you got something to say, go ahead and say it out there. If you want to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Valiant Dynamics, the maker of the greatest rifle stock in the history of rifle stocks, the Evolver stock. Go check that out and let them know that Ghost sent you. This podcast is fueled by our friends over at HRT Tactical. You guys know that I'm a big fan of them for a long time. Chris is a great dear friend of mine, jarhead brother of mine, but they also make really cool stuff. They got great plate carriers, but they've got a whole line of stuff that's unbelievable. Go check out hrttacticalgear.com and let them know that Ghost sent you. But they got smoke grenades, they got war belts, they got first aid kits, they got it all. If you're a junkie, you're going to love HRT Tacticals. Go check them out as well. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're looking for the light and you're needing some help, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be able to walk you through some stuff, talk you through some stuff. More importantly, I can just sit here and listen if that's what you need. If you are looking to get towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, look at my camera here. You are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are proud members of the Firearms Radio Network and the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all of your favorite pro-gun, pro-toy podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and firearmsradio.net. Let's get this off of my ugly mug and say hello to the merry band of morons for the night. Real quick, Cobra Arms out there became a new member. Thank you, homie. I need to call you tomorrow for some work-related stuff. So I'll reach out to you and find a time where you are not terribly busy. Anyways, let's say hello to these fine young gentlemen from the weirdest state in the union, the only state that takes two people to spell four little bitty letters. From the 740. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah. Tax day hurts, doesn't it?
It does, that Springfield Kuna came out today, and I could have bought one, but I had to give all my money to the government. So.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Yeah,
maybe Trump will figure something out.
Yeah. Oh well. Hey, it is what it is.
It is. It is what it is. But we were talking in the pre-show. G23 out there. He says $20, man. Just because the government wants all your money, we need to support the men and women who are downrange. There you go. Absolutely. Appreciate you guys know that all super chats go to sending care packages downrange to our men and women that are fighting a good fight. So thank you for that, G23. You're a very big supporter of that. And cool thing is I did get to write off quite a bit, almost $3,000 worth of donations in the last year from donated to various organizations that are helping with those care packages. So G23 was a big part of that. All of you guys did that throughout the year, almost $3,000 written off in donations. So that's fantastic. So thank you guys for that. It's probably about 14 something that were donated. It was about 18 or 19 something that was donated. And then I covered the other part of it. The 40% that YouTube takes, I cover the rest of it. So altogether, it's about almost $3,000 that went to charity. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for that. That is amazing. Appreciate you guys. What's going on with your channel, man? Everything good?
Yeah. Gonna do a lot of filming this weekend. The range is completely empty, so I'm gonna. Gideon just dropped 3 brand new dots all at the same time, so I've got them all here. So gonna get busy with that this weekend.
Yeah. So you said the range is kind of slow this time of year, you think?
Well, with it being Easter weekend and everything, they don't have any events.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, they don't have any events going on, so that'll be nice. It'll be a perfect weekend to film, and I think Friday it's supposed to be like 72, so should be all right. So
fantastic. From I don't even know what the avatar is this time. He changes them every week. From EAA in Florida, we got the man, the myth, the legend in his own mind. What's up, Chase? How you doing, man?
That's the Lieutenant Dan is how I feel right now.
Is that what that is? I couldn't see. Okay, and now I say that, yeah, that's Force and Lieutenant Dan.
After this last week and a half, that's 100% how I feel.
She tastes like cigarettes.
She tastes like cigarettes.
I think I'm gonna go home now.
Gotta be about 15 of those Dr. Peppers. Lieutenant Dan, yeah. You know that one part where he sees Lieutenant Dan on the side of where he's in his boat and he just starts running, runs off the boat. I felt like doing that a couple times in the last week and a half, just running off the side of the boat.
100%. Like the way it's been, people.
Hell yeah! Tell Thomas, keep it up, brother.
That is a wild mullet running by. Is what that was.
That is the mullet. That is a mullet that is just in loving life right now.
He's supposed to be going to get a bath, and he's running for my wife. So
Oh, so he may not be loving life right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's outside the door, and that's how loud that is.
I love it. I love it. What's going on, EAA? You guys, besides the craziness, how's everything else going?
Just enjoying this economic boom we're having right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what you're calling it?
Sure. If anybody's curious how this whole tariff thing's working out for them, for everybody,
yourself, right?
if I look at another Excel sheet in the next year, I'm going to burn the entire state to the ground.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, we've literally had to change things 4 total times.
We had to change it twice in one day last week.
Yeah, because hey.
Actually, 3 times. You had to do it, then went back, and then had to go back to it.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, unfortunately, I don't have a choice. Like, we're going to eat as much of this as we can, but like prices have to change because of this stuff. Then the press secretary gets on TV and tells everybody, "Oh no, we're pausing everything for 90 days. It's cool. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, by the way, we misspoke on that. It's actually not what we said. Sorry."
Yeah. They did just enough to get the stock market a rebound, though.
I know. But Deputy Dog in his new position really needs to get some lobbyists on this. I'm just saying.
Speaking of Deputy Dog, standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a ginger, my lord, and a flatbed from the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews. We have John, the Ginger, soulless Deputy Bastard. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? Special teams, special players, Tuesday.
Man, you're like highfalutin now. You have like a title and a badge and everything.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should say it now. I got promoted
You got promoted.
I got promoted to
something.
Deputy Director of Corporate Relations last week.
So
does that mean that Kaylee still gets to order you around, though?
Yeah. Kaylee's still my boss.
That's all we care about. That's all we care about. Congratulations. Is it the same job, which is a different name, or are you getting more stuff added, or what's going on?
I'm getting more stuff added. So basically, I'm in charge of now all of our corporate relations. So all our partnerships, our entire partnership program, getting people to goals, getting people into the digital magazine, all that stuff. So I've got like 3 people under me now. So I've got meetings planned with everybody to make sure they're doing their jobs. So I'm got some new stuff added. And yes, Scott, we will be working on recreational nukes at some point. Scott, watch the podcast.
So far, best question so far. When we get in the recreational nukes, that is a nod to the podcast.
Hey, while you're working on your legislative stuff, make sure you get rid of some of the compliance issues so I can import recreational nukes. Make the world a better place.
No. You can import them. It's just they're gonna tariff the fuck out of them.
Yeah, I'd love to see what that is. Yeah. Like, so what's this fission reactor gonna cost me to bring in? Just curious.
So we are working on a ton of stuff.
Can you figure out like a scientific way to get it in, Chase, that might get away from those tariffs? Just throwing it out there.
Well, I mean, you can do a lot of stuff for research purposes. You gotta remember that. Yeah. Because technically, every time SpaceX sends a rocket up, that's an NFA item. If that doesn't blow your mind, because that's a space launch vehicle.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yes, they actually have to adhere to all kinds of ridiculousness through the ATF and Department of State because it's a space launch vehicle.
I had no idea. That's wow. Okay, that sucks.
It's
so what are you guys up to, Ginger?
What?
What are you guys up to? Are y'all like busy, or have y'all been doing much at all?
Not busy at all. I mean, I was at CanCon over the weekend. It was 100 degrees, talking about some stuff that I talked to you pre-show that we can't talk about just yet. And then I've got a industry meeting next week, which people will be receiving emails for, Chase. And we've got a ton of cool stuff going on in the background. And then other than that, that's about it for GOA. I mean, we're working tirelessly to get things completed and cross the finish line now. And we just, this afternoon, we passed the Senate and Congress in Tennessee to pass a PLACA law to that way you can't get sued. If you get sued in like Connecticut, they can't come to Tennessee to take your money. So we're setting precedent to go across the U.S. with that.
There you go. Let's hope that all works.
Then other than that, I got this really cool coin this weekend from a congressman.
Saw that. That's pretty.
Yeah. And then FLR,
where's your badge? I want to see your badge, dude.
Kaylee didn't think I would get a badge. I got myself up
a badge. Hell yeah, deputy dog badge. Hell yeah.
That's gonna be on my badge carrier for SHOT Show and for goals.
It better be.
And then for
we need to get her a tiara. She's a queen. We need to get her a tiara. I can make that happen.
Do it
very easily.
Do it, please.
I'll give her a tiara. I don't give a shit. I'll make her wear it.
Please do. I'm asking you.
Only if she runs by going, "It's a tiara!" It's like,
it's a tiara. All right. What's going on with FLR?
We dropped a new video today on the Springfield Armory Kuna, which is one of my new favorite PCCs out there. It is better than other things on the market. I didn't say the name.
This motherfucker pre-show was saying that he thinks it's better than an MP5. I'm like, you are outside your damn mind, son.
Well, it is roller lock, so you know who they're copying.
I know. I'm just saying it's not better. Let's just be honest.
No, nothing's better than the OG.
No. G23 says, has any of the started manufacturing the 7mm the back door? Oh, the back. I forgot about the backdoor rifles.
I have not.
I think Sky is working on it.
Now Kinetic Group didn't find it as funny as we did.
Huh?
So some of the guys at Kinetic Group didn't find it as funny as we did.
I would imagine not.
Oh, the sales dudes thought, like those guys thought it was hilarious. The engineers who take their jobs entirely too seriously didn't think so.
But they're engineers. They're supposed to do that.
Exactly. I was like, come on. It's hilarious. So that is my ultimate goal now, is to get somebody to create the 7mm backdoor as an actual cartridge.
And I heard Sky's got some extra money floating around. Oh, wait, my bad.
Yeah.
Is that official? I haven't seen anything. I saw you guys talking about it today. So is Sky gone?
Oh, you didn't see the wire this morning then?
No, I didn't.
So they have video. They had pictures of like the note posted on the former doors now from like Volusia County, like the county above us, where Chris was just hanging out, where the tax collector has like put a lien and closed the business. They're like $250,000 in back taxes.
Bye.
But they've apparently like been quietly out of the place for a while. It's just whatever equipment.
So from what I've heard, they've been running like a skeleton crew elsewhere, but that's about it.
Yeah, but they haven't been responding to anybody, and they haven't been actually shipping anything recently. Nope. It's just we exist, but we don't.
You said this was in the wire this morning?
Yeah, it was in the wire this morning.
I also heard that they were going
Jim Shepard had a big article about it. He's like, hey, you know how I had to make that retraction because I was told by the owner that was incorrect? He's like, it was all correct.
It was all correct. It just wasn't public yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also heard rumors, and I don't know if you guys have heard the same ones, but I've heard that there could be some restructuring to move to another place that they're trying to do, but I still don't see how they're going to financially get away with that. I mean, they're hemorrhaging right now. So
they owe $250,000 in back taxes. The city or the county has told whoever would potentially like absorb the debt or whatever, they would forgive 2024, and they'd only owe for 22, 23 back tax, which is the $250,000.
Yeah.
Not the stuff that's accrued now.
Yeah.
But whoever gets a hold of it's just going to get whatever is left over in the place. It's nothing, the building's leased. They don't own it. So they're just trying to get the county's just trying to get their money back out of it. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We shall see. From the great state of Texas, the gatekeeper of everything Texas pride and all things other prides as well, the tactical virus. Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clover Tactical?
Not a thing in the world.
It's Clover Tactical.
Clover Tactical.
I love it. Paul's always going to call you Clover Tactical.
I don't care. It's Paul. Who cares? Paul's poor pig heart.
Yes, swine man himself.
Well, Abalone Clover did get her invite from NSSF today. So
Abalone Clover. The greatest.
Did she really?
The greatest name.
Was there really an invite?
You didn't see my text this morning?
Oh no.
So like I said to you, I said to put it in NSA. So there was
he doesn't read the NSA chat.
Invite to the marketing summit, and it was one to you, one to Ghost, and one to Abalone Clover.
Abalone
from
Clover.
the shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The marketing summit.
Kyle says he's too cool to read the group chat. He thinks he is.
Oh well.
So yeah, it is what it
Anyway.
is. What's going on with you?
Anyway, nothing.
Nothing.
No.
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 Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't do anything.
We knew that, but that's what it is. We accept you for who you are, Clover.
No, you don't. But okay.
No, we accept you. We make fun of you, but we do accept you.
It's debatable.
That's
That's debatable. That's debatable.
We give you shit because we love you.
Is that what it is?
That's what we're going to say. That's what we're saying.
Okay. Whatever you have to tell yourself to be able to sleep.
Whatever gets you through the night. That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Whatever gets you through the night.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Gummies usually help me get me through the night. So.
No shit. Yeah. Big handful of pills and a shot of whiskey. That typically will do it.
It's what it is. I'm just happy I wake up in the morning. Let's be honest.
Right. At this point, yeah.
Mandatory carry. He knows.
God.
He knows if he didn't accept you, he wouldn't insult you.
It's
That's
bad.
exactly right. I only make fun of people that I love.
So
Well,
I've been back
to their face.
I've been back in the gym about
How's Jim doing? Is he doing all right?
About 2 weeks ago.
Inside
I
Jim?
didn't say back into. I said back in. God, you're killing me. Killing me, Saul. Killing me. But you know that you're old when a successful workout, you don't die. Like that's your criteria. Like
I get it.
as long as I don't die,
They say that exercise makes you make better decisions. I have decided to no longer run. That's what it's done for me. Is I've decided I made better decisions. No longer jogging.
Right.
My exercise has helped me not to exercise anymore.
Cardio sucks.
Put it
Anyway.
tied. Gonna go home now.
I'm gonna go home now. Getting kind of tired. I was running. Yeah. Yeah. So it's weird. I just realized by the time next week's show comes, I'll be 50. Isn't that crazy? The big 50.
Old.
Just a
I'm
number.
I'm not as old as Chris, but I'm old. I'm pretty sure Chris is older than I am, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been 50 since December.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you were a few months. I didn't. Yeah, so
Yeah.
John and Chase are still a while before 40. So
Mhm.
I mean, not that
Chase
much
is
longer.
close. Yeah, you're not. You're a year away, but John's still got like 9 years left or something like that.
Yeah, John's like 26.
7. I've got 7 years left. Thank you.
Yeah, he's 32, but he looks 62.
Well,
That's
the
that
thing.
ginger. That's that
Those
ginger blood.
souls. He's got to keep
Yeah.
replenishing that, or else he starts aging.
You
How the
know,
fuck do I look younger than you, bro? How's that happen?
I don't know. Stress. I've lost 15 pounds in the last 2 weeks, so leave me be.
I get it. Hey, I get it. You look good, bro. Yeah, your face is,
Well, I know where you
Looking
can
good.
find them.
That's it.
on Jim's ass.
Fix to say McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme.
Krispy
Take your
Kreme,
pick.
Wendy's.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Any of
Got
those
that
places.
glaze.
He does like some what was it? Was it White Castle we stopped at in Indy when I picked you up at the airport? Yeah, you ate that White Castle in about 2 seconds, bro.
I love me some White Castle.
Kyle's out there saying Skyline Pro. Just
Well,
shut the fuck up.
Speaking
That's
of
how you
White
cut
Castle,
weight because you'll shit your brains out.
Yeah, well, that's how you lose weight is eating Skyline.
was that
What are you saying?
was that White Castle on the Strip in Vegas the nastiest fucking restaurant that you ever ate in your life, or what?
No, I've been some nasty.
It was
places,
bad
but-
though. It was bad, right?
No,
I've
it was
been to
not.
some-
It was
I've
not
been to
good.
bad places, but it was not. The cleanliness
It was not
there
good.
this year.
But
Ooh,
at
it was
midnight, that White Castle tastes damn
No,
good.
I'm not.
I'll say
I'm
that.
not complaining. I'm just making the
Yeah.
observation.
No, it was not good. It was definitely not. It was not good. Jay Helms out there says, "Hello, everybody from Madison Township, Ohio." God, we got another Ohioan in here. Y'all trying to take over the world, Chris? I don't consider John an Ohioan anymore. He's too far removed. But
Kind of looking that way.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't appreciate you guys trying to take over things.
What are you gonna do if like Ginger actually gets a tan at some point?
I don't think he can he?
Yeah,
I mean, he might burn and peel.
Well, I mean, Trump's got spray tan. He could always go that route.
Well, you
Listen,
could go
I'm-
that route.
I'm tan for my skin complexion. Thank you.
I saw one of the
Dude,
best
gold.
lines today. There is a fine line between a tan and looking like you rolled around in Doritos. It's a very fine line. I hope you cross
True.
that line, John.
Please, for the love of God, John, like bleach your
Cross
hair
that line.
and get a spray tan for goals.
Do
Yes.
the powder, albino hair look with the
And wear
with
like
the
an
orange spray
oversized
tan.
blazer, like it'll just carry a big back around. Like
Yes.
that's sick.
Yes, with your deputy dog badge on your badge holder.
100%. You gotta be like, we trump the competition.
No hair in your balls if you don't. We could probably talk to Kaylee into making him do that, can't we? She has the power to make him do that.
I bet if I get somebody to make a big enough donation, I can get him to do whatever I want.
Uh-huh. Squeal like a pig.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Kyle's late because he's at dinner with his family, which I'm okay with. But I finally did pony polls last week, and he's not here. So we're gonna do the pony polls. We'll get John to do the pony polls for us. Maybe he'll show up. He said he might gonna show up. I hope he just stay with your family. It's your daughter's birthday, only. It's time for there he goes, Kyla. It's time for pony polls. The pony polls. All right, the first one.
What kind of sick dude is at his daughter's birthday dinner listening to us?
That dude, it's not that it's her 18th birthday, and he's listening to us. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what it is. So you guys remember last week we had the finals of the caliber. I don't know
the caliber conundrum.
Caliber conundrum between 9mm and 5.56, and 9mm won with like 98% of the vote or some shit like that. So I threw it up there on my channel and said, pick one: 9mm, 5.56 NATO. Chris, real quick, 9mm or 5.56 if you had to choose one. I know we did this last week. We're going to do it again. Yep. Okay. Clover, 5.56 or 9?
5.56.
5.56. Chase, 9 or 5.56?
Is it me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone y'all cut out for a second. 9. 9.
9 times? Chase-tifer. See, John doesn't laughing because he doesn't know what 9 times means. He's not old enough to understand the beauty of Ferris Bueller. I've actually met Ben Stein here. He's his family's got, so he's a family around here. He used to come every now and then. Cool ass guy right there, I'm telling you.
Sorry, I'm having a meltdown going on over
I
here.
love, keep it going, bro. I love that shit. I love meltdowns. I love 3-year-old meltdowns. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's the whole family now. Like we get in the back chat later. I'll explain.
Oh, nice. All right. John, 9 or 5.56 for your vote?
9 mil.
9 mil. All right. So 9mm won the GOA thing with like overwhelming numbers. 69% of the pony poll picked 5.56. Interesting. Very interesting.
Nice.
69%. So yeah, that's kind of surprising.
69. Nice.
69. It's a nice round number. Nice round number.
That'll make Kyle really happy.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. 69, Kyle. So he's having dinner with his family. Talking about 69. There you go. And Kyle said smart audience. Yeah. All right. Our next pony poll. It's pretty simple. Choose one. Which had the best music? Which decade had the best music? We're going 70s, 80s, or 90s. Overall, which decade had the best music? Clover, we'll start with you on this. 70s, 80s, 90s. It doesn't matter what genre, just of the decades, which one had the best music?
80s.
Interesting. Ginger?
80s.
You were
70s,
alive for
80s.
two of the decades, so
90s. I'm going
of course
90s.
that's when you were born, so you know. Let's see here. Chase, 70s, 80s, or 90s music, and what does homie say?
Like, what?
Overall.
Overall,
Which decade
man,
had the best music? 70s, 80s, or 90s?
like 90s without a question, like 100%. There's because you got the tail end of the good stuff from the 80s, then you had the amazingness that was all the different genres of the 90s. Come on.
Yeah. Chris?
90s all the way.
I love all of these, but if I had to pick like overall, I gotta say 90s too. Even country was good in the 90s. You know, like country today sucks. 90s country was good. 80s country was good too. 80s music was 80s is close. I'm not gonna be like Chase and said hands down, not even close. 80s was close. Because you still have to look at like 88, 89, NWA, Beastie Boys, Guns N' Roses, and all that was like late 80s, Motley Crue. But
It was,
90s
but they were
overall,
also the early
90s
90s.
overall.
And they were better in the early 90s.
You're right. Guns N' Roses was better in the early 90s. But
Some
yeah,
of the best
I mean,
albums of all time dropped in 91.
91 alone might have been the greatest single year since the early 60s when the Beatles came, right? Like 91 is a year, man, there was a lot of music. And a lot of it was dropped within like 3 months of each other, which was insane.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. 45% say the 80s. 45% say the 80s. 30% say the 90s, and 25% say the 70s.
I'm fucking 2 for 2. What? Did I step into the fucking Twilight Zone here? What's going on?
I don't know.
I've been the only one up here that's aligned with the fucking
have.
polls, man. What the hell?
And you usually do not align with public. You know, that's just the way it usually doesn't work.
I
that
don't
way.
for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna blow it on the next one.
Yeah, I bet you are. Speaking of 90s and especially 1991 in particular, Chase, of these, which was the best? Alice in Chains, Nirvana, or Pearl Jam? We're going to start with Ginger on this one.
Ouch.
Alice in Chains, Nirvana. I know this one's brutal.
Gonna have to explain it to Ginger probably.
Okay, so in the early 90s, there was a movement called the grunge movement, and it was a lot of Seattle bands that took us from the bubblegum hair metal of the 80s and brought back the dark, raw rock and roll. And there's 4 major bands that came out of Seattle. And I'm mansplaining the fuck out of this. Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. So I didn't put Soundgarden because A lot of people don't appreciate Soundgarden, and I knew they wouldn't get many votes, even though they deserve them. They wouldn't get many votes. So I just put the top 3: Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. Which one, Ginger?
I like Pearl Jam, but Nirvana. It's got to be Nirvana for me. I don't think I've listened to any Alice in Chains music. I may have, but Nirvana is just the one I.
What?
Yeah.
Is there a boot button? Is there an eject switch somewhere?
Yeah. Eject.
I'm being honest.
Me too.
Thanks.
So are we. No. So have you ever heard of MTV Unplugged?
Yes.
Okay. Nirvana and Pearl Jam both did phenomenal jobs. Matter of fact, the biggest selling album in Nirvana's collection is the Unplugged album. But if you ever want to see what true Unplugged genius was, go YouTube it and you can watch the whole thing. Just YouTube Alice in Chains Unplugged. Lane Staley literally got out of rehab that morning and did that concert. Amazing. So, anyways, go check it out.
I'm guessing I've heard their music. I just know Nirvana and Pearl Jam better. It's maybe this because that's what
you've heard of Alice in Chains songs. I guarantee you have.
I guarantee you I've heard them. I just know Pearl Jam and Nirvana more.
Well, let's be fair. Pearl Jam and Nirvana were the two big ones, right? They're the ones that made it popular. So, yeah. Am I roboting to you guys?
No, you sound good.
Oh, you sound good.
Okay. Was Ginger roboting for anybody else, or was it just me?
I haven't got anybody roboting.
No,
Okay. It was just a couple words here and there.
You've cut in and out for me like a couple times, but nothing bad. It's split seconds.
No. Yeah, like you had like a couple words, and I was like, well, what the hell's going on? Anyways, nobody's roboting. Good. Okay. I'm just making sure. Chris, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, or Pearl Jam?
Man, I struggled with this one in the poll.
This is brutal.
I mean,
this is brutal, man.
Yeah, I mean, these bands all came out when I was a junior and senior in high school, so that was a fun time.
Absolutely.
I'd have to go with Alice in Chains on the poll. I love the chemistry between Lane and Jerry. Both of them had awesome voices.
Yeah.
The band
Jerry doesn't get the respect back then. I think he does now, but I don't think Jerry got the respect back then of being a guitar player and a singer. You know, it was always Lane. It was always Lane.
Oh yeah, and I love Jerry's solo stuff and everything. I still listen to a lot of his music. But I'll go as far as the poll goes. Alice in Chains. As far as my favorite grunge band out of Seattle, it's definitely Soundgarden.
Yep. I'm not going to say that Soundgarden is my favorite band of the four. But Chris Cornell is my favorite singer, like voice. He's my favorite voice of all time. I want to throw this out on a limb, and people might think I'm a little weird, but there are two voices, in my opinion, that are just, well, there's three that are just better than everyone's ever, right? Chris Cornell, George Michael. George Michael had a hell of a voice. Weird dude, hell of a voice. And then Jim Morrison from The Doors. Those three voices were just better than everybody else's, in my opinion, in history.
Holy shit, man. You don't have no Freddie Mercury on there? Come on.
No. I'm not saying that Freddie Mercury didn't have a great voice. But for me, I could listen to Jim Morrison or George Michael or Chris Cornell and never get tired of it.
You had me until Morrison. I can't stand Morrison, dude.
Really, I love his voice, man. I love his voice. Weird motherfucker, obviously, but a great voice. Really strong. But yeah, George Michael, fantastic voice. But Chris Cornell for me is
another weird dude. But yeah.
Very weird. But Chris Cornell for me was, when I heard Soundgarden the first time, I wasn't a huge fan of the music, but I could listen to him sing. Of the 4 big ones that came through Seattle, I was the least impressed with the music of Soundgarden overall. But I could listen to Chris Cornell sing. He could sing the ABCs, and I'd buy tickets for it. He was great. Clove, what about you? Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam.
Nirvana.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Nirvana was just, to me, Nirvana was darker, and I just liked that. There's something
very
about
much
it.
So.
It's just.
See, Alice in Chains and Nirvana were very similar in they were the darker ones. Pearl Jam had some very dark lyrics, but to me, they always seemed like they were more
musically. It wasn't though, right? Like musically, it was
no.
Like for if you would say instrumental, I would probably go Pearl Jam.
Yeah, Pearl Jam had the best,
and I would kind of have to
down.
For obvious fucking reasons. But like who knows the fucking lyrics? But Pearl Jam's music is like it's amazing.
It's good. Great music. It's just one of those. I'm torn, very much so in this. So I don't know, John. You don't remember this because you weren't alive, but I want to go with Clover and Chris on this one. I mean, you can do this if you want, Ginger, just to say you're part of it. But like when they all came out, like for a while, like it was Nirvana and Pearl Jam, right? Those were the first 2 that really hit it big. And it seemed like it was one of those things where, at least in Dallas, where I grew up, either you were a Nirvana or Pearl Jam, but you couldn't be both when they first. It was like they were against each other. Was it the same way with you guys, or where y'all were? Did you have to choose one like right away?
Yep.
I don't
people
think
chose
we did.
Pearl Jam was like how do I put this?
More like
Pearl Jam was kind of
popular.
Like. So Pearl Jam was kind of like the straight A kids and shit and whatever. Like they tended to gravitate more. It seemed like they're like the preppy kids seemed to graduate more to Pearl Jam, whereas the ne'er-do-wells, I don't even know what the behind the gym smoking whatever, like gravitated more towards the Nirvana side. And I think it was the darkness.
What about the preppy kids that smoked weed behind the gym? I did. I was both. I was the preppy.
Well, I was a chameleon too. I navigated a bunch of different. But I'm talking about the ones that were that way, right? I'm not talking about those that.
I get it.
Jump around.
I get it.
I didn't mind either one. But I always, like I said, I always preferred musically Pearl Jam. But and you're right, Alice in Chains didn't. I trying to think, like it was probably when grunge came on the scene. It was probably. Man, at least 3, 4, 5 years. I don't even know before I even knew about Alice in Chains.
Oh, really? Oh,
so I don't know when they come along, but yeah. They
were all right there.
I'm notorious for being behind on like music anyway. Like my kids have always made fun of me and wife and everything else. But yeah, it was quite a few years before.
Okay.
And by that time, that Nirvana for me was already kind of cemented as just lyrically.
So, like,
I like it.
The reason I asked that is because when the grunge shit start hitting. Oh, real quick, Chris, you were gonna say, were you guys like? Did y'all kind of choose one way or the other?
No, I don't ever remember us doing that. We kind of equally liked them all because really, if you sit and think about it, none of those 4 bands had any similarities whatsoever, other than the fact they came out of Seattle. I mean, Alice in Chains had more of a metal type feel to them, where Pearl Jam had more of a folk rock type sound, where Nirvana was kind of
just raw
punk style. They played very few chords in their songs. The Soundgarden was just absolutely
They were
weird.
not musically talented people. Now you see Dave Grohl as a drummer, and you say, man, he's incredibly talented. But Nirvana were not talented instrumentalists back in the day. Yeah. So for me, the reason why I asked that is for me, I was a big Pearl Jam guy when it first all started kicking off. I was Pearl Jam was my thing. Um, I listened to Nirvana. I listened to Alice in Chains. 1994, summer of 94, spring of 94, I guess, really technically. I was in boot camp. And when I got home from boot camp, all I heard was Black Hole Sun all over the radio. And that's when I became a big Soundgarden fan because that was the first Soundgarden song. I was like, that's beautiful. Like, that's a beautiful song. Pearl Jam, I will still say this, that Pearl Jam 10 is one of the greatest albums ever. Top to bottom, song to song, beginning to end, Pearl Jam 10 is one of the best albums ever. Then I was not a big fan of a lot of the albums after 10. I mean, there's some great songs, but album-wise, they were okay. Nirvana, for the short time they were there, I was in boot camp when he died. Actually, Lane Staley died on the same day, 8 years later, ironically, April 5th. But I became much more of a Nirvana fan after Kurt Cobain died. And I don't know if it's because of I started listening to it more or just I knew that there was never ever going to be more music that came out from them. I don't know if as I got older, I've always loved punk. And I think Chris maybe me right. The punk side of Nirvana was good. I don't know.
May have added to the darkness of the music as well.
And the weirdest thing with Nirvana that I remember was no one knew who they were until Smells Like Teen Spirit came out. Then people went back and found Bleach, and then they had like
Bleach was a better album.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So then you had like all these other people.
Oh yeah,
were like,
Bleach is the best album Nirvana ever put out, in my opinion.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
I would be willing to bet, in my opinion, that Bleach is the best Nirvana album ever, and it was the one that got on the record contract, but it wasn't the one that made them famous.
Yeah, I think Smells Like Teen Spirit is probably my least favorite Nirvana.
It is on that album. There's a lot of great tracks on that album, obviously. In Bloom's probably my favorite on that album.
Come As You Are
is a beautiful song.
Heart-shaped Box is great, and Lithium.
Heart-shaped Box was on the Lithium's on that one, but I think Heart-shaped Box was on the next album, I believe, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't remember.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. It was on the.
I think it was on the next
utero
one.
Or whatever.
But yeah,
they call
Lithium,
it.
Oh, In Utero. Okay.
In Utero, yeah. But yeah, Lithium's a great one. In Bloom's probably my favorite. Come As You Are is as pretty of a song as you're ever going to hear from Nirvana. It was a beautiful song for Nirvana. Yeah. It was a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Scott, so we had the Dopers and the Ropers. There you go. We had a little bit of everything in Dallas, man. We had it all. But yeah. 48%. Kind of a surprise. I'm not upset about it, but 48% say Alice in Chains. And I wonder if that's strictly on Lane Staley's voice. It had to have been, right? I think Eddie Vedder has a great voice. I think it is a strong, great voice, but it is not Lane Staley's. And Lane Staley's voice is much different as it is. I still prefer Chris Cornell's voice over his, but I think that Lane probably had by far the strongest voice coming out of the Seattle sound. Great voice. And like Chris said, Jerry Cantrell, he never got credit for having a good voice as much because he was overshadowed by Lane,
The weirdest thing is with Nirvana too is Dave Grohl went on to just still hugely popular. But I wonder whatever the hell, has anybody ever heard what happened to Chris Novoselic? Like, where did that guy go?
He was a congressman for Washington State, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. He went political and became like a congressman. Yeah. I don't know if it was a state Congress or U.S., but he like became an elected official. He went elected official side for a while. I don't know what he's doing now, but I know that, he let's see here. Chris, I don't even know how to spell Novoselic, but there it is. Let's see here. Politics, career, post Nirvana. Let's see here. Performed political and social. He was interested in 1992. The Washington State Legislature attempted to pass a bill called the Erotic Music Law, which he obviously did not like. In 1995, the Erotic Music Law was reintroduced to the Washington State Legislature as matters of harmful to minors bill. Yeah, he was a state politician. In 2004, he thought about running for lieutenant governor, but he didn't. He decided not to do that. But yeah, no, he got into politics and all sorts of stuff, which was kind of crazy, you know. I'd tell you what's crazy is Dave Grohl, Hall of Famer now in 2 different bands, by the way. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2 different bands, which is insane to think about. But we all know, and not that there was anything wrong with it, it was his band. I get it. Can you imagine what music could have come out had Dave Grohl been allowed to write it all for Nirvana? If Cobain would have sat down and tried to write some songs with him, or maybe, or the question is, maybe he wasn't writing music. Maybe he wasn't developed, you know, until Cobain died. Kurt Cobain died, and maybe that's where he started writing music. But can you imagine some of the music that could have come out of Nirvana if they would have collaborated? That would have been amazing, maybe.
I don't know that it'd have been the same. You know what I mean? It'd have been different.
Yeah, that's true. It could have been.
And it wouldn't have been, in my mind, Nirvana, I don't think.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. But just think of the great songs that Dave Grohl has written in the last 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Holy shit. Like he was.
Yeah.
And
he
wasn't allowed to write it. No, I'm not saying you. I'm not. Yeah. But he wasn't allowed to write in Nirvana. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's like crazy. That's
I'm not disputing it wouldn't be good music. It just wouldn't be Nirvana.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Wait, did Lemmy die?
Oh yeah, he's been dead for years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm not that big Motorhead. I thought it was like recent when he said "Rest in peace, Lemmy." I'm like, I know who. I mean, everyone, regardless if you're a Motorhead fan or not, you know who Lemmy is. Like probably the godfather of metal. I mean, I think everyone would consider that. I didn't know he'd been dead for a while, but I just saw "Rest in peace, Lemmy." I thought he just happened.
Yeah, 2015.
I didn't know he was dead, but I'm not a big, but I know who he was. I thought that was like just happening when he said "Rest in peace." So. I remember, I want to say it was Metallica did a show maybe in Brazil. I want to say this is years ago, and Lemmy came on stage and jammed with them for a while. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, even if you're not a big Motorhead guy, which I was never a big metal guy, everyone knew who Lemmy was. So yeah. 48% say Alice in Chains, 31% say Nirvana, 21% says Pearl Jam. Those are the pony polls. Go check out our friends over at Anderson Manufacturing. Let them know that Ghost sent you. Use our code, use Chris's code, use Clover's code, use John's code. We'll save you some money. We don't make a penny off that. We'll just save you some money. What's up?
Oh, I was going to ask Chris, who wins in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?
Lemmy or who?
Lemmy or God?
I have no idea.
Did you say God?
Yeah.
Are you talking God? Or are you talking
who wins in
Chuck
a wrestling
Norris?
match? Lemmy
about Chuck
or God?
Lemmy or Chuck Norris? How about that? Lemmy or Chuck Norris?
No, that's a specific question for a reason.
Oh, I have no. Okay, so that okay.
Oh, you haven't watched it, so you haven't seen the movie Airheads, apparently. But okay,
I have not. No, I have not.
So the fake record producer guy, comes because they took over the record label or the radio station hostage, right? And he comes to the door and he's like, "Oh, are you actually a record producer or whatever?" And they start asking him questions, and that's one of the questions they ask him. They said, "Who wins in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God?" He goes, God. He goes, eh. He goes, Lemmy. He goes, eh. He goes,
Lemmy is God.
He goes, yep. He goes, Lemmy is God, dickhead.
There you go.
Trick question. No, he goes, trick question. Lemmy is God, dickhead.
Wow.
They also
okay.
wanted naked pictures of B. Arthur, which I thought was weird in that movie. But that's a great movie. Y'all should go check it
B.
out.
Arthur. That's the one from Golden Girls, right?
Yeah, yeah, and Maud.
Okay. Maud, yeah,
Back in the day, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, everyone's got their own thing.
A football helmet filled with cottage cheese. That was one of their demands. And naked pictures of B. Arthur.
Holy shit.
They were coming up with weird shit because they were trying to buy time.
That's a tough writer. That's gonna be Clovertack's writer for GOA for goals this year.
I watched that movie a couple times, but it's probably been over 20 years ago or more since I watched it. Who was in that movie, Clover?
Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi.
That's right. Fraser was in it.
Oh my God. I've never even heard of that movie. I need to go check that out.
It's worth watching. It's fun.
How do I never heard of that movie before?
It's great, man.
Never even heard of it before.
I have a fun fact.
Ginger, what were you going to say?
I have a fun fact that I learned this weekend about goals.
Okay.
I was talking to Brandon Finch from Canic this weekend, and he goes, "Hey, did you know at Goals I drank with Harrison Ford?" And I go, "Bullshit." Well, I guess Harrison Ford's agent is in Knoxville, and he was at the bar across the street from the convention center Saturday night drinking, and Brandon from Canic was drinking with Harrison Ford at Goals.
He's drinking with Han Solo. I'll be damned.
He showed me. I said pictures. He showed me pictures.
So be careful.
I said next year. I said this year, if you see him, invite him over. It's like invite him over to Goals. We'll hang out with him. So there's your fun fact for the day. You may beat Harrison Ford at Goals.
That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know if he likes guns.
Oh, we got a cool question. We got a cool question over from Iron Sight Pistol. Says, Ghost, where do you see the gun community, gun rights in 10 years? Can we all put individual things aside and fight to stop this anti-gun movement? Can we all? No. Being honest with you, no. Not a chance in hell. Where do we see that? That's a great question. This going to take a while because it's a multi-leveled answer from all of us, I'm sure. We're going to split this up because I think the gun community and gun rights are two separate conversations, right? So I'm going to start out. I'm going to go through the room on this one. We'll start with gun community. Chris, where do you see the gun community 10 years from now?
We need to do a hell of a lot better than we're doing right now. That's for sure. I mean, if we talk just inside the YouTube space, there's constant rivalries going on between. It's just not a good look for us. So we definitely need to do better. You got these channels that intentionally start fights with other YouTubers just to get views, and it's just a bad look. It really is. And you got to figure that we're already against the world anyway, so it really doesn't help when we can't even get along with each other. So yeah, we definitely need to work on that. That's my take on it.
That's a fair point. Yep, for sure. Clove, I'm going to put you on a 3-minute time limit. Just kidding. No, we're going to talk gun community first. We'll take the rights to the next one, but gun community and whatever way you interpret gun community, where do you see the gun community 10 years from now?
The problem is, I think they're directly related. I don't know that I can address one without the other.
We'll try. I'll come back to you while you put your thoughts together. Ginger, gun community 10 years from now.
All right. I'm going to say the quiet parts out loud. I've been feuding with Chris from the 740 for the last 3 months to get viewed. No, just kidding.
Are you finally coming out of the closet?
No. Here's what I'll say. we have made leaps and bounds as a community over the last 5-10 years with the COVID spike, and I think we've become more welcoming. At the same time, we still have factions within our community that only want to look out for what they deem is responsible gun ownership or what guns they want. And to dive into that, we see this a lot. We see this a lot with, okay, we have our subgroups. So we have our tactical people, we have our pheasant hunting people, deer hunting people, hunters in general.
But
the FUD. And I learned this firsthand because, recently at shows, the community seems to be really good. And I'll say at Goals and at SHOT Show, we seem to be more bonding. I know there's some feuds here and there and things like that, but we seem to be more bonding in a common push. However, I went to Pheasant Fest, and it made me very clear that there's a whole group of gun owners who only believe that a shotgun for upland bird hunting is the only thing that you need, and that they will never come after this and that stuff. And that's disappointing. And then you go to other shows, and you see the old head still pushing, certain things. I mean, as a community, just to take again, the women side of the community has grown extensively. We are seeing new guns going out for women that, like the 14T and the EZ, and that aren't this pretty and pink or pink it and shrink it, as they like to say. But we still have people working behind the gun counter.
Say what we want to about Sky, but Sky bringing the colors 5 years ago was huge.
But it works. It works the same way with the tactical people in Ghost. I'm gonna point fingers a little bit because he was resistant at one time to the whole revolver and especially lever gun, and now he's got one type shit, and it's still kind of resistant to shotgun. But you should have seen him over there with the fucking Winchesters and Brownings. He enjoyed his fucking self. You can't lie about it.
I did. No, I'm not lying about it. I enjoy it. I love it.
You've got people that'll.
I look forward to shoot all the time, but I enjoy it for sure.
Well, you're an open-minded person. Just the opportunities had to present itself. And what I'm saying is, there's people that think like you, but they're fucking closed-minded people. So it works the opposite way too. Don't just hang this shit on the fuzz, man.
You didn't let me finish my thought process.
100%.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
I didn't get to finish.
Well, finish.
You tell me that Clover didn't let someone finish? You're kidding me. I don't believe that.
I think
Ginger, finish your thought.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's still people. So really, what I think, there's three groups in our community. There's it's got to be a staccato or expensive. There's the average gun owner who is like-minded individuals with most of the people in this chat right now. And then we have our FUDs. And there needs to be a way to bridge the gap. And I think the FUDs are a dying breed, kind of. But we need to bridge the gap between the FUDs and the tactical
that's a strong statement.
I mean, it kind of. I mean, look at certain events and you can see.
The problem with that, Ginger, and this is something that I've been talking about for a while. The whole idea of a FUD is an antiquated idea that now applies to fucking tactical bros as well, that ask, why do you need a revolver, or why do you need a lever action, or why do you need this, or what. Anybody that asks why do you need X is a fucking FUD. I don't give a shit what their preference is and what they like, right? They may like the fucking staccato, it doesn't matter. You're a FUD, like, just because you don't prefer that, like, doesn't mean we don't have a right to have that. So shut the hell up and leave people alone. Now, if somebody asks your opinion, what do you think is best? That's fine. Answer that fucking question. That's cool.
No, he's not saying you, John. He's just saying that person.
No. What I'm saying, I don't think we're getting. I get what you're saying, but I don't think they're FUDs. I call them tactards.
Yeah, well, they're FUDs. In the definition that everybody uses for fucking FUD to point fingers at FUDs, it's FUD. The FUD initially had nothing to do. You got to realize the whole FUD idea initially had nothing to do with the arm that was being used. It had to do with their complacency against things that they did not use.
Change. They
right?
didn't want change. Yeah.
And then time rolled on, time evolved, and now there's a fucking AR-15, company around every corner or whatever, and it's tactical land and world now, the most popular rifle in the country. I won't dispute that, But those people that own those and only care about that stuff and only care about those is the same fucking mentality as the ones that is using it for hunting. Therefore, they're a FUD.
I agree with that assessment.
I can't disagree with that.
But we don't talk about that. We still call the hunter guy FUD. So we're alienating the fucker that's out there that's hunting that is Pro 2A because he's like, why are they on me and my fucking shotguns? Like, I don't give a shit if that motherfucker goes and uses an AR-15 or has an AR-15. But you're going to lump that fucker in just because he's got a shotgun and his preference, again, is not an AR-15. So got to
ask you guys this. Have we seen a little bit of a shift? Oh, go ahead, Ginger. Go ahead.
I want to argue with Clover for like 30 seconds, and then I'll let you take it over. Clover, I get what you're saying.
No, go for it.
I get what you're saying, but those guys, the guys who are like, I don't care what you have, just I have my shotgun. I get those guys. That's fine. Like that's what their preference is. They don't care. But there's a large part of that community who's like, they're not coming for my shotgun. AR-15s are stupid. Concealed carry is stupid. Like that's a large part of that community, unfortunately. And I get you can't lump them all in, but they get lumped in, unfortunately.
Okay, but here's the thing. So because the rifle is scary and black, the government, and let's be honest, it's our best defense not only against criminals, but also the government. So you've got those tactical bros that they just so happened, the tactical bros that are FUDs, right? Why do you need that revolver? Why do you need it? I don't need a fucking shotgun. Okay, cool. They got the same mentality, right? Is the hunters, the shotgun people you're talking about. All of that is equal. Okay. The difference is their firearm of choice, preference, just happens to fucking be the one the government is coming after. And they're pissed because the FUDs don't help them, but then they've got a prejudice against the FUDs because the preference of the FUDs is shit they don't fucking like because they're tactical bros. So why don't we throw that label on every fucking body as a FUD if your preference supersedes the fact that we have a right to keep and bear arms and whatever the fuck that arms is has none of the government's business. Why can't that be the bottom line? And anything else, you're a FUD. It don't make a shit. What you could only want tactical nukes like we talked about earlier, and it makes you a fucking FUD if you think nobody needs anything other than a tactical nuke. And honestly, I don't know why you'd need anything other than a tactical nuke now that I'm saying that. But
I had tactical nukes and you wouldn't need any goddamn thing else.
Right? That's pretty good security right there. Pretty good insurance policy. But you get where I'm going with that.
No, I get what you're saying.
Good.
My argument is that, okay, I get what you're saying, but the tactards, as I like to call them, they're not saying ban those things, while the FUDs are saying, oh, we don't need an AR-15. You don't need this. You just need a double barrel shotgun. That's my side of it.
But saying you don't need it, I get that. But here's the thing: I've never heard them say you should ban AR-15s. They're just saying you don't need that.
You don't need
it. You haven't been to the right shows.
Them say they should be banned.
There's people that own AR-15s that have cut them up, made videos and shit. Well,
I try not to listen to shows that talk about fucking banning shit. So yeah, you're right. I don't listen to that shit.
There's people that own things that people want to ban that talk about they would give them up and shit though.
Yeah. The FUD, the whole FUD thing was really strong 5-10 years ago, right? The whole FUD versus tactical was really strong then. today I don't see it as big of a line drawn in the sand, because I think that, are there some that will never own an AR that are the hunter guys? Yes. Are there tactical guys that will never own a revolver or shotgun or lever action? Yes. But I think the vast majority of those groups will, at least, whether or not they own one, will at least admit they're fun as hell to shoot, or they like them, and may not be their cup of tea, but they're okay with them. The ones that I worry about in the community, and it's going to start bleeding over into the 2A rights here discussion, is this.
Fearmongers.
Nah, the fuck those guys. I don't even give those guys a time. I don't even fucking listen to them, because they're so fake. The Jareds of the world are all of those guys. They're just fake, and they're there to be famous. They don't give a fuck about 2A rights. They don't give a fuck about the community. They don't give a shit. They just want to be famous because they had no friends in high school. And I don't give a fuck. Go tell Jared I said that. Have him call me. He knows that I'll fucking talk to him. He has my number. He can text me. But I'm not just saying just Jared, but a lot of those guys out there, a lot of those guys that are the 2A sources. Sorry, John, they might be friends of yours. They might work with you, but a lot of them are fucking idiots that don't give a shit about anything.
Well, they're not the sources. They're getting fed that. They're getting fed that shit. They're not the sources. So that's number one.
Yeah. So my point is no, those guys, I don't even give those guys a time of day. What worries me are the ones that are out there saying, kind of going back into what you guys are saying, is, are there people out there that says the only thing we should have are ARs, the only thing we should have are shotguns? I don't hear that, so I'm not worried about that. I think that everyone can agree.
I hear that you don't need
I don't like it. Yeah,
why do you need
thing.
might be a better way. Why do you need XYZ?
Right. But the ones that scare me are the ones that truly don't care about the 2A, right? Not saying they have to be. I'm not an activist by any means. You know, I'm an advocate. We talked about this, Clover and I, and we've all talked about
advocate,
this.
not an activist.
I'm not an activist. I will never put myself in the same position as Tony Simon and Charlie and some of these people that are truly, you know, Cheryl, that are activists, right? I'm not that guy. That's not me. But what I can say is the ones that scare me personally, and this is where I have a problem with the next 10 years, is at what point does the silent minority not become so silent, right? It's the people that we have gained in the last 5 years since COVID, right? We've gained a lot of gun owners in the last 5 years. So that makes us have maybe a false sense of being strong, because we've gained a lot of gun owners. But are they our friends in the 2A? I don't know. And this is the transition from the community to the 2A, is we have a lot of new members in the community, but are they there for the 2A? And I see that being a problem is when that silent minority get together and realize that I bought an AR or a semi-auto handgun or a revolver during COVID because of all the craziness. I haven't touched it in 5 years. And eventually I'm going to get rid of it because I don't need it anymore.
Yep, that's
we're
what we have to
safer
address.
now.
Yep,
that's what
we have to usher them into that next step. Just because they are a firearm owner does not mean. And so I don't think that you usher them into that next step of advocacy, not activism. Maybe eventually, but advocacy. I don't think you get them from gun owner to advocacy without enthusiast being a middle ground step. I think you have to get them from a gun owner to a gun enthusiast, and then you can move them into advocacy, right?
Yeah, we've got to get them from being a gun owner to getting to actually range and actually shooting the gun that they own.
Yep.
And having fun with
and enjoying guns and the art and the sport of shooting and all of that in general. Right? Not just how often, and this is where the tactical bros and the trainers and a lot of this other stuff come into play, is they just drive home and harp on self-defense, carry, concealed carry, EDC, self-defense. And they don't say, hey, just go out to the fucking range and shoot cans and bottles and shit, man. Go out and have fun.
Watermelon. Go shoot watermelon. Water balloons. Have fun.
The fun is what's going to carry somebody into that enthusiast. Holy shit, I really like shooting this gun at these bottles. What if I had this other gun, right? Or this other rifle? Or what if I go get a shotgun, man, and we can throw things in the air and shoot them, or,
Absolutely.
you move from gun owner to enthusiast. And then as they start expanding that collection and they have more than just one sitting in a drawer they don't shoot, and Mr. Government comes in and says, I'm going to take that. They go, whoa, wait a fucking minute. I got like 10 guns. You ain't taking my 10 guns. Fuck that. I got 10 of them. Not one in a drawer I've never shot. I got 10,
it's easier not,
and I go to the range every month.
It's easier not to give a shit when you have one, right?
That you don't shoot and don't enjoy, right?
You don't shoot. Yeah. What do I,
Yeah. If you've got 10 that you enjoy and you shoot, a lot harder to say, hey, somebody's going to take those. We want you to give those up. Like, nah.
I know. We've talked about this in the past over the last, it's be 8 years in a couple of months for my YouTube thing. I know you and I have talked about this many, many times, Clover, about when does someone become a gun owner into an enthusiast? Is there a number of guns? And I think there's a number. I think it's 2.
I think you can be a gun enthusiast with 0. And I'll give a good example.
Okay. I'm saying transitioning someone from a gun owner that actually owns a gun to an enthusiast, because anyone can buy a gun for whatever reason. But when you buy the second one, and now you've come up with a thought in your mind as to why you need a second gun, that's what we need to do. We need to start getting them. And you're right, like Jacob, 100%. He was very much an enthusiast and didn't own a gun before. He owned. He was an enthusiast before he owned a gun. So yeah, I think that the enthusiast side is a key thing. I worry about. I see the two-way 10 years from now being dramatically different. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the NFA. I don't. Might be unpopular. What I do think we can do is get rid of a lot of the shit that's on the NFA. I think that suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, all that stuff. Do I think? And we were talking about this in the pre-show.
Will stay. Destructives and machine guns.
Destructives, machine guns.
They come off.
They don't. And let's just be honest about that, right? But everything else, we can dramatically change the look of the NFA in 10 years.
Yeah,
very easily.
Here's the road. When you initially asked me this question, I was going to answer the question in full.
Now we're transitioning, so go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to answer it in full because the whole and I don't even remember the question. You don't have it pinned, do you? But that would help. Shit. It was
where do we see the gun community and gun rights in the next
gun rights? Yeah. So I think we're in a very scary time, and I'm not fear mongering when I say this. We're in a very unsure time. Let me say this. Sure. Trump. There's some things going on in the government that I'm behind, because I do believe that the fucker knows what he's doing, and he's got some good minds that's advising him, unlike he did in the first term, to do some things.
Absolutely.
And I'm listening to some economists, and I'm listening to some way brighter motherfuckers than I am.
But who would have thought the best gun control was tariffs? Let's just be honest, right?
And so, but that doesn't mean I don't have reservations about all of this, right?
Absolutely.
I am, I'm trying to trust and be positive in all of this, but I do have concerns. And I said this when he got elected, that he didn't fix the economy, price of groceries and eggs and shit pretty fucking quick. It was going to be a Democrat landslide in the fucking midterms, and he's toast at that point. He's fucking toast, right? Well, now that he's ramped up tariffs is not going to help with any of that shit, right? No. Pushing the tariffs and playing, and he's backed off of some stuff. I get it. It's a chess game. It's government dog and pony show. I get all of that. So, but again, unsure, right? So depending on how all of this plays out, if it does not play out in what we would all consider, everybody that's here and listening to this, we would consider the positive, and the Democrats get control, I worry about Republicans ever getting control again. And that's going to be fucking horrible for gun rights in the next 10 years, right? And the problem with it being horrible for gun rights in the next 10 years, it's going to be bad societal, because guns are bad is going to be drilled to every fucking body in every fucking corner of this country. Going to have a societal effect, And then that's going to turn around and that will also affect the gun culture negatively, like we were talking about. Now, I hope things work out for the positive. Like I said, I try to be positive. I think he's got some bright people. They know what they're doing. And hopefully it all works out, and that's not the case. But that's why I said one kind of hinges to me on the other.
They do. They do. 100% they do. And no matter how we answered it, gun rights and community are tied together. 100%. You can't have one without the other. Without gun rights, there won't be a gun community. Without the gun community, there was no one to fight for the rights, right? So it is what it is. It's tough. It's tough because I think that you have to, how do I put this? I'm trying to sound all smart here. Crayon Eater trying to sound smart. You have to understand how shit works, right? And for those people that don't read history, that don't read history, that don't understand how government works and all of this stuff, it's interesting because when you look at 10 years from now, there's a lot we can do with gun rights. There's a lot we can do to grow the community. But will the community as a whole, because let's just be honest, a very small percentage of our community actually gives a shit about 2A rights, right? If you talk about every gun owner in the country, a very small percentage actually acknowledge and care and keep up with what's going on 2A. I think that's the biggest thing we have to do, regardless of who is in office. If let's just, and John, you can hate me for this, but I'm just going to say it. At one point, the NRA was strong because they had a 5 million people army, right? They had 5 million members of the NRA, right? I'm just going to say that 5 million people can change an election. Yep. If you can get the gun community, and I'm not even saying the whole damn gun community of what is there? I say 100 million gun owners, let's say you can get a 10% of the gun community to actually care about 2A. That's 10 million votes. 10 million votes change elections. I'm not saying they need to be a one. I am not. I don't vote strictly on 2A. I have a lot of different areas in my life that I vote. I'm a conservative person, so most of those are going to be aligned with that. Right. But there are a lot of. I'm not saying we need to be a single issue voter as a community, but if we can get 10% of the gun community to actually acknowledge 2A rights, we can change elections over the next 10 years and not even have to worry about the Democrats. Because imagine if we get 50% or 25% of the gun community, you're talking 25 million votes. That changes shit. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's not. It's almost a catch-22 situation, because I'm sitting in Texas. I don't have much to worry about. Hell, they're trying to.
I'm in Arkansas.
They're trying to pass legislation now to get, and they'll probably do it, to get short barrel rifles and shotguns off of the restriction list for Texas. Anyway, they'll still be federally, but at least they won't be here. And to wipe that off of the books, and they'll probably do that. But look at a state like California. Look at a state like especially New York. New Jersey, Massachusetts. Look at some of these, right? Illinois. Well, Chicago. Not
Colorado's
getting bad.
Washington State's getting bad.
So, look at some of these, and the problem is that it gets to a critical mass at some point to where you've got legislators that they're not stupid. They fucking understand that when they pass these restrictive laws to restrict the vast majority of access and make it very difficult to get to firearms and all this, that it has a societal effect where less and less people get to experience firearms and get to understand firearms. And then therefore they can turn around and play on the lies and the fear mongering and all the other bullshit that they play on, that creates a situation where gun control can actually work, right? So I agree with you that 10 million can change an election and all this, but being able societally to get that 10 million with some of the restrictions in some of the places that's already in play, like I just don't know how to go about doing that.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to come up with that strategy. I just know that if 100 million people in this country own guns, a very small percentage of that community can change outcomes of elections without even blinking an eye. And maybe that's what we need to start thinking. We need to start thinking big board, big room, big world thoughts. Is, you know, I'm sure John and the GOA that's in their war room. They've had these conversations before. I don't know.
I would like to
guys...
get to a place where you don't even have to worry about that, though, right?
Well, sure, but that's never going to happen.
Would you like to get to a place to where like gun control it's just left alone? It's not even a thought.
Yep.
It's not like we
Absolutely.
got the Second Amendment. We've got the fucking Second Amendment. It says government keep your fucking hands off. So, you know, politicians, you know, you take an oath to defend the Constitution. That's what the Constitution says. Fuck you. You can't do nothing. If you try to even propose gun control, your ass is ousted from Congress or state legislature or the city council or whatever the fuck it is where you took an oath to protect the Constitution. Your ass is out and we replace you with somebody else. You know, getting into that type of a world, that's a world I'd like to live in.
I would love that world. I don't know if that world's ever going to exist. I'm just trying to be realistic here, you know.
Because of what I talked about earlier. Maybe that's catch 22. It's I agree with you. I don't know that it ever will either.
Yeah,
but it'd be nice to have things strengthened to a point, and I think we can. And I think the GOA is doing a good job with some stuff, and I think there's other organizations too that are doing really good at strengthening. And some of the states and some of the places. I mean, look at the constitutional carry states, for example, that's swinging in our.
We have 27 now. 27. Who would have thought 10 years ago we had 27 states that are constitutional carry? That's a big step in 10 years. That's a huge step, you know. Yeah. Before I bring Ginger in, because I know Ginger, you probably have a lot to say on this on the right side because that's kind of your realm. I want to bring Chris in. We're all kind of geographically different because I'm in Arkansas. Chris is Clover's in Texas. Chris is in Ohio. Ginger's in Arizona. Clover and I are in states that even the liberals probably own guns. You know, let's just be honest. Yep. The Democrats, I wouldn't call them. But I mean, that's just the way it is.
Registered Democrats for fucking sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Democrats. Yeah. I mean, the liberals, but the Democrats. There are a lot of Democrats that own guns. I want to bring Chris in real quick before we go to John, because I know John's probably got a lot to say. But Chris, where do you see maybe, and it might be different. It might be different from the Ohio. You're still considered Midwest, but Ohio is close to that Northeast also, right? Where do you see in your area gun rights in 10 years?
On a state level here, we'll be fine. But
yeah,
I get pissed when we start talking about this because this kind of goes back to what Clover was saying.
Shit, let it rip.
The biggest frustrating part for me,
fucking let it rip, dude.
Yeah, the biggest frustrating part for me is we go back to them swearing that oath to the Constitution, and it's right there in black and white. Look. You can't fuck with this.
There's 27 words. There's 27 words, and they mean a lot.
Yeah. And you know, and there was something that happened before the elections, before everything was ramping up, before Trump got elected, and I agree with you about Jared. I've met the guy in person, and I'm right there with you. But he did put a video out, and I don't even remember where I seen it because I'm not subscribed to his channel. Somebody shared it, and he was talking about all the gun owners per state that don't vote. And
oh yeah, it's huge.
And I was watching that, and I'm like, it goes right back to what you said. We could change everything if we could just get those people to go and vote. I mean, those numbers were astronomical when we were, and I did research on it, and everything that he did say in that video was true because I started digging into it, and I'm like, God, man,
I never said that he lies. I just think he's
no. It's here or there. I'm just saying that this is where I saw it, and
Yeah,
You know,
no,
these
it's
people, like,
crazy. He's right.
yeah,
though.
and it
I
goes
mean,
back to if you own a firearm and you enjoy it, you got to vote. You got to go out and vote because they're going to take there's a lot of people out there that are trying to take that gun from you, and it's frustrating. And it goes and the same thing for we talk about organizations like GOA, the FPC, the NRA, whatever you want to talk about. But look how many people don't want to spend $20 or $30 a year to join one of these organizations. And you don't realize, I don't think people realize sometimes how much work they're putting in to keep our gun rights. So, you know, I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't really know what to say what it's going to look like in 10 years. But
I
want to be positive about it, but on the same time,
we've got on this idea of voting, we got another elephant in the room, and Ghost will know exactly.
Why are you calling John an elephant? That's not nice.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, getting the gun owners that do not vote to vote, great. But we already have a problem with current gun owners that do vote that are not single 2A issue voters.
I'm not one.
So even if we were able to get all of the gun owners to vote, how do you get them to then put enough priority on the 2A, especially when there may be, food on the fucking table, their job, whatever, retirement, livelihood, whatever issues.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is where the whole, you start going down this road and talking about shit like this, about multi-issue voting, and you get called a detractor to FUD real fucking quick by people. And I think that's also, that goes back to the community aspect, that everybody needs to chill the fuck out and actually have a conversation. Rather than pointing fingers.
What you're saying. I see what you're saying, and
but I don't blame. I'm just saying, I don't blame. What I'm saying is, I don't blame somebody if they've got 3 issues and the number one's being able to feed their fucking family, and it's for whatever reason that number one, it has to go contrary to the Second Amendment in some way. Like, how do you fault that? You want somebody to starve to death over the Second Amendment? Is that really how you feel? Like, I wrestle with that. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I here's the thing about, I'm a multi-issue voter. Okay. People that know me, people in this room, especially that know me well, people that know me know that I am very much a fiscally conservative person. I am very much of a constitutionalist, which falls primarily under the conservative realm, let's be honest. But I'm also socially pretty liberal. I want people to be happy. I don't give a fuck who you marry. I don't care who you love. I don't give a shit. Be happy, because if you're happy, then we're not going to be arguing, right? It's just, it is what it is. I want people to be happy. That said, when it comes to voting, I think, and I speak for myself, but I think that I'm also probably a good representative of the vast number of people out there, right? Moderate, is overall, right? Moderate, swinging conservative. That's kind of where a lot of us are, right? But I think that people that are gun owners, that aren't just the ones that have the one gun they bought during COVID or whatever, but people that are actively gun owners, that have multiple, that do shoot on a regular basis, whether or not they're 2A or not, I think that those people that are actively gun owners are naturally more conservative, right?
I think so. There's a certain
I would
responsibility.
Hope so.
There's a certain responsibility to gun ownership, right? We talk about it all the time. Safe, responsible firearm owners, and so that lends itself automatically to be conservative. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily worry about trying to convert people into single issue voters, because I think that the vast majority of gun owners, if they were to vote, I think the biggest thing, like Chris brought up, is getting them to vote. Because I think if we can get them to vote, they're going to vote conservative. I'm not saying Republican or Democrat. I'm going to say conservative or liberal, right? They're going to vote conservative more times than not, right? So I think that Chris hit on something. It may not be trying to convert them into two-way people. I think it's just converting them into voters, because I think the vast majority of people that are gun owners are going to vote conservative when time comes. Ginger, you've been very patient, and I'm going to give you the floor, not only for personal things, but I know that you have your own personal opinions, but you also the GOA side of things. So I'm going to let you have the floor for a little bit, and let's talk gun rights the next 10 years from your point of view and GOAs. I'm not saying that you're going to have all the answers for GOA, but I'm sure you guys have had this discussion before.
Yes. Okay. I'm taking the GOA hat off for like 10 seconds because I'm going to say some things, and if anybody hears it, they might get mad. But
hang on. Let me screen grab this right quick. Okay.
This is John, not GOA.
Yeah. Even though I'm a representative of the organization, here's what I have to say. 2019 happened. We all know what happened in 2019. I'm not going to say what happened. I don't want to speak it out loud, but it hurt a lot of people, and it made them not trust the lobbying arm for our gun rights. You can, sure. It is what it is. The biggest issue as an organization right now, and all the organizations is, and you can look at our 990. If you want to trust an organization, go look up their 990. You can see how much everyone in the organization is getting paid. Our 990 is public. You can see how much Eric Pratt's making. You can see how much everybody else is making. We have these fights, and we get told all the time, we got to go in and fight. We got to go in and fight. We do not have the funds to do this. And a lot of people are not spending the money because they are still feeling hurt, deceived,
sure,
you name it, from what happened during that time frame, 2019 on. And now more than ever is time, if you want your gun rights, if you want to strengthen your gun rights, if you're seeing legislation happen, guys, lawsuits cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're not instantaneous. This is not instant gratification. This takes a while. This is a long haul fight. This is a fight that we have to do as a grassroots effort. You need to be going to lobby days. You need to be going to your state house. You need to be contacting your senators and congressmen. If you do not do that and you sit back, they don't know what you want. The more voices we have going out to do this, and the more donations that organizations like GOA, like FPC have, the better is. And the gun rights org, for at least from the GOA side, now I'm going to talk from GOA, we write amicus briefs for FRAC. We write amicus briefs for FPC. We write amicus briefs for the NRA. We write amicus briefs. We hop on lawsuits with people. But now's the time to put your money where your mouth is if you want these changes to be done. Now, that's my rant. I'm going to hop off my soapbox and dive into gun rights, because that's my one rant for the day. Gun rights as a whole. Do I see suppressors coming off the NFA? Yes. Do I see SBRs coming off the NFA? Yes. Do I see the sporting purposes going away? Yes. The GCA? Yes. Are we going to get the Hughes Amendment? Probably not. Going to be honest. That's a long, long fight that we're going to have to fight. We are in a position now, and I believe Trey, if you want to pull up his question, Scott asked something at 8:24 your time, 6:24. Yes, the administration is listening to us. I can say that they are. I mean, we talk to Cash all the time. Cash is a good friend of the org. It's very clear he was at goals. Here's my thing. Guys, you want change. You want this done. You have to start a grassroots effort to get this done. We saw a growth of 20.
Yeah.
Chris brought it up. The non-registered gun owners that vote, the non-registered voting gun owners.
Mhm.
We saw a spike between 2020 and 2021 of 20 million new gun owners. That's the estimated numbers. That's where we're at. Now is the time to bring them in.
I think that's conservative, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it was more, but who knows?
Yeah. It's the grassroots effort. Get together as a community to expand your gun rights. If you want all this done, it is the grassroots effort of expanding your community, going to lobby days, contacting your senator and congressman, contacting these people, and start building a grassroots army that is there to fight for our Second Amendment. Get these new gun owners who, and again, I'm going to pick at GOA for a second because I've said it to Sam Paredes and I'm going to say it publicly. GOA is very good at getting the politically motivated gun owners. We're very bad at getting the average gun owners because most of the average gun owners have heard of other orgs.
I like what you guys have been saying the last few months is you say you want to get them activated. I like that term, is getting people activated. Yes, that's what it is. It's not getting them motivated. It's not getting them motivated. It's just getting them activated. Once they get activated, they'll be motivated. You just got to get them active.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get them active. You got to teach them. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. My favorite thing that a girl who used to work with me at the ammo company, she knew nothing about gun laws. Very young, 18, knew nothing. And so I sat her down the one day and we were talking about the pistol brace stuff. She goes, I don't understand this. I said, okay, cool. I'm going to walk you through it. This is a broom. I give you a broom. This is a legal broom. You can use it. It's 16 inches long with the 16-inch handle, and it's good to go. And she goes, okay, I understand that. I'm like, okay, now I cut an inch off of the broom. Now it's an illegal broom.
Yep.
But if I put a piece of metal on the end of it to extend the handle and pin it to it, then it's a legal broom instead of an illegal broom. And I explained this to her, and she goes, these laws make no sense. And this is coming from somebody who knew nothing. And I said the same thing. I said, hey, but if I have that same 15-inch broom, but I keep it under 26 inches overall, and I put a brace on the end of it, then it's a legal broom. But if I put a stock, it's an illegal broom. And she's like, this makes no sense. These are the people that you have to go out and activate. You have to get them motivated about gun rights. You have to get them motivated because they saw something we've never seen before. And that's the concern that they have to take their protection into their own hands. Now is the time to get them.
So let me ask you, I'm going to ask you, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Let me ask you guys a question, not just John, but Chris and Clover. Why don't you jump in here? This is open forum at this point. We're opening it up. I'm going to ask a question out here. And in the audience, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this as well. Is it getting them motivated more important or getting them educated more important? I think if you get them educated, they'll become motivated or they'll become activated, right? I just think there's a lot of people that just don't know. And you brought that point up with that girl. Education about what's going on, I think, is key. Maybe that's something that we all can deal with, not just rely on GOA, FPC, NRA to fight our fights, but why can't we get people motivated about learning? Like being motivated by the 2A is great. Yeah. I need them motivated about learning about what the hell it means, right?
Yeah. So
I don't have the answer to that. So
educate, not legislate. That happens to be a 2A organization out there. Their slogan,
absolutely.
Right? I agree with that. And that is, I think that is a duty that we have as advocates, as gun rights advocates, is to educate. Yeah. The activists
I don't know if we can get them to listen, you know.
Well, here's what popped in my head while Ginger was telling that story.
Yep.
I think that chick was kind of open-minded and kind of maybe a little bit liberty or freedom-minded already.
So she was kind of already.
And so here's it. And I'm not taking anything away from all of that. It was great. The way he explained it, I think, was pretty cool too. But when you start getting off into the weeds and the nuance of guns, for somebody that knows nothing about guns, I think the average person that knows nothing about guns, because the devil that is the fucking media and the gun control groups and everything else have fear mongered and put so much bullshit out there that once you start getting into the weeds and start talking about, oh, the links and you cut it and you add this, it freaks them the fuck out even more than they're already freaked out.
Almost too much information, maybe.
So, yeah, so it's a matter of like with those people, like how do we navigate this to not overwhelm them, but at the same time be able to get them educated that, yeah, this shit is stupid. It makes no fucking sense. 16 inch is 16 inch, whether it's 14 and you have something pinned or whether it's fucking like, what the fuck difference does it make? Right.
I agree. I'm just not smart enough to figure out how to get that to happen. And I wish we could. I wish that we could keep it simple, stupid. Absolutely, Scott. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
But keeping it simple is great. Even if we have the greatest plan to keeping it simple, like, are we still going to be able to reach them? Are we still going to be able to reach the people enough for them to listen to us?
Yeah,
because I think you're right, Clover. Because the media and everything else has told them their whole lives
how scary and dangerous.
It's
right?
scary and dangerous, and so they've they don't even
now
want to hear about guns.
Yeah, and now they're hearing you talk about all these different configurations and chopping barrels and adding parts, and that's, oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, just ban the whole fucking thing. What are we talking about here? Right?
Yeah.
Like some of them, that's where their mind may want to go, and I understand why. If they've been conditioned, this is why society and normalizing and making things is so fucking important. Is that way? It tries to make things to where they're maybe not, it pushes back, right, on the guns scary, guns bad narrative.
Yeah, and Gerald brings up a point that my next transition of this is going to be this. I'm not so sure, and I think he's talking about what I'm getting ready to talk about. I think that maybe one of the ways is not to push gun rights. It's educating people on their personal rights. It's educating people on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Get them educated and interested in learning about what their personal liberties are and their own rights as an American citizen and as a human being. And hopefully that transition into the 2A as well, because that's part of it. It's the second thing we fucking wrote, right? First one is you can say what you want. The second thing is go buy a fucking gun, right? In its coolest sense. But I think if maybe that's what we needed. Instead of pushing 2A, maybe we should start pushing personal rights. Get educated on your rights, and hopefully they take the 2A as part of that. I don't know.
Whether they agree with it or not, whether they practice it or not, the fucking Second Amendment applies to Moms Demand Action just as much as it applies to the fucking GOA.
That's right. They just choose not to.
That's the beauty of the Second Amendment. You can fight against it all you want, but it's still your fucking Second Amendment. It's still your right.
Go ahead.
When people ask me, what do I do for a living? I said, I work in human rights. Because that's true. The Second Amendment is a human right. Your right to keep and bear arms. That is a human right. Also because it keeps me from getting yelled at on airplanes. But
it also feeds your family. So.
It feeds my family too.
And it feeds my family.
Here's my thing, right? We need to.
I wouldn't have a job without the 2A now. Isn't that crazy? I just thought about that. I wouldn't have a job without 2A right now.
Dude, you don't So let me wind back the clock a little bit.
Yeah.
20.
Wayne's World, you weren't alive for that either.
Right?
I've watched Wayne's World.
Yeah, but you weren't alive for it. Yeah.
Yeah. 2012, when AR started
Sandy
getting
Hook
the
shit happen.
Sandy Hook and things. We saw the first big gun run. Working in the industry at that time, at a gun store, it was like, okay, well, maybe we're not gonna have this for much longer. Then we had the, there's been talks in between there where 2018, 2019 assault weapons bans.
Mm-hmm.
Then, this being my livelihood for so long, and since Chase is here, Chase's livelihood as well, there's always a fear in my mind. Now that I work for gun rights, it's a little bit different, but there has always been a fear in my mind that it takes a stroke of a pen that our entire industry collapses. And especially when I was working at Faxon, it could have taken the Biden administration one stroke of a pen and we would have been out of business. Like, dunzo.
Bro, here's the thing. It's still a stroke of a pen could destroy our industry. It almost happened last week. Let's be honest.
I've seen it. Talking about social media and some of the shit with all of that goes on. Like, you think it isn't really, if they don't want, and I know that the social media platforms and everything else, they fuck with a lot of people, right? If they wanted it completely gone, it's a line of code and push a fucking button, dude. Like, I've seen it. I know how all that shit works. That's how easy it would be to do it. So they can shut down all of that. You talk about hurt the societal part, right? The normalization of gun ownership. I mean, that would be terrible.
Well, you're talking about, and it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true, right? Most cliches are cliches because they're true.
Yeah.
The cliche of an armed society is a polite society. Is it 100% accurate? Maybe not, but it's true. You take the makeup of America and you take the Second Amendment away, America is a much different country. Much different country. You think crime's bad now? Take the Second Amendment away.
Mm-hmm.
We look.
All you gotta look at is the hotspot centers for crime. You'll be able to tell, because those are the places with the most gun control.
Yep, the Chicagos, the Detroits, which is ironic because one of the biggest crime cities in America is here in Little Rock. Go figure. In a very, very gun-friendly state. That said, yeah, you're right. I mean, you look at the vast majority of the hot spots are in restrictive states. You want that to look like that all over the country? That's what's going to happen.
But what kind of crime is what are we talking about?
Well, you're talking about in Little Rock, you're talking murders, a lot of murders. It's the murder capital of America.
Probably. And then what is the gun owner? What you get into some nuance to, like, what's the gun owner? Because they do have the abilities. Arkansas is fairly lax, so you're talking about there's liberal people there who do not.
So I think the last numbers, they do. I think the last numbers I saw was like 2023 or 2022, right? The last numbers I saw, and Arkansas was second behind Alaska for percentage of gun owners. I think Alaska was 80 something. I think Arkansas at one point was like 78% of Arkansans are gun owners. Now, does that mean that they're practicing gun owners, or are they gun owners because they go hunt in Stuttgart, Arkansas every year for deer hunting or for duck hunting, and they do deer hunting? I don't know. They say that 78% of Arkansans own guns. I would suspect that the vast majority of Arkansans are the hunters, are the people that do own guns, but are they practicing gun owners? Probably not, So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to is, once again, educating people on their human rights, educating people on the Constitution, understanding how all of this plays into an economic role as well. Everything is joined. It's a spider web that's unbelievable. Everything is tied together somehow, some way. And I think that educating people is one thing, but then we have to trust them that if we figure out a way to get them motivated about education about this stuff, we have to trust that maybe that turns them into advocates themselves. We have to trust that maybe that turns them into voters themselves, because once again, 100 million gun owners in this country, if we can activate, as GOA says, 10% of those into new voters, we'll never have to worry about it again. I just don't know how we do that. Chase, welcome back, homie.
If you say so.
How's it going? How's the meltdown going? Is it better?
It's better now, but we'll talk a little bit.
Okay.
I might need Chris's services.
Oh shit. That's not good.
Yeah. I need Chris and TJ both, to be totally honest.
Oh, that's not good at all. Yeah.
No.
Fuck.
But no, you were just talking about like people, the rights here's a good example. All you have to do is look directly across the Atlantic at what's going on in Europe. Europe's fallen without a shot being taken.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think this government would be the most totalitarian thing you've ever seen if the gun ownership in this country wasn't what it is?
We don't talk about that. We do in our little small part of the community. We talk about the Second Amendment, and that's one of the reasons why the government's never going to be radical, because they know that there's 100 million gun owners with 300 million guns out there, that if they try to go totalitarianism or they try to go dictatorship or whatever, and they try to go martial law or whatever, we ain't going to take that. We're not going to take that as a people.
And contrary, and I think it has to do with the culture of the United States as well. But
we were born with
maybe
guns.
The patriotism, but the one of the things that keeps them in check too is I think that they realize that with the United States you have this individual spirit. So the men with guns they would use to become totalitarian, they're only going to have. You're talking about law enforcement. You're talking about current military.
Not all of them are going to stand for that.
You're only going to have a very small portion of those, and the rest are going to defect.
Yeah, and they probably defect with some of the military.
Oh,
stuff, let's be honest.
Yeah.
If I'm a pilot and I'm defecting, I'm taking a jet with me. Fuck it. If it's going to be martial law and it's going to go that bad, if I leave, I'm taking a jet with me. I'm taking a tank with me.
They're going to feel their
ranks. And you probably know how to pull the trackers and everything else off of the shit.
Absolutely.
So
the difference is they will fill their ranks with bodies. It's just not the trained people you think. It's no different than what happened in other totalitarian societies. I mean, all you gotta do is look back.
Just because you have a 1 million man army doesn't mean it's an army.
They'll add cannon fodder. Yeah, they'll add cannon fodder.
If you look at just what happened here a couple of years ago when everybody was worried about a certain sickness, you had neighbors turning on each other because people didn't wear a mask or whatever else during all that madness. That is no different than neighbors turning on each other in Germany in the 30s or in the Soviet Union in the 30s and 40s. It's the same mindset. The same people that did that crap would be the same ones that would put on a different colored uniform and march to a totalitarian drum.
How many of that 1 million man army that Iraq boasted about literally walked up to Allied forces and said, "We surrender"?
Yeah, besides the Republican Guard, they all gave up.
Yeah, that's what it would be
like. The
most
hard line. And the same thing with the Iranians, the same thing with anything else, The Chinese would be about like the Russians or the North Koreans, where they're going to fight because if they don't fight, their own troops behind them are going to kill them.
And their families are dead. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they're going to be shot from the back if they don't get shot from the front. So what's the point?
That's it. I don't even remember who brought that up. That question. I think it was Ironside. I think, but man, that was a fantastic question, and we could talk about this for hours, days, weeks, years.
Did you have a topic?
I did, but we'll do that. This was even better.
Yeah, he threw a wrench all in that shit, dude.
He threw a wrench, and it was fantastic. So, my topic wasn't nearly as interesting or as important as this one, but we'll get to it eventually. But no, this is one of those conversations that needs to keep being had, and because I don't know the answers, none of us in this room know the answers. But the more conversations that we have, we can start coming up with answers, or at least ideas. And I think ideas are more important than answers, because answers are absolute. Ideas can always change. And that's what we need to have happen right now. We need a bunch of ideas, try them all, because with some people, one idea is going to work. With other people, another idea is going to work. We need as many ideas as we can. And I don't, and I love GO8, FPC, and SAF, and all of these organizations that are fighting for us. But it also got to come within us. It's got to be able to. You've got to be able. We've had Clover and I have had this conversation 1,000 times in the last 8 years of our friendship. Right? We need to have people that are not afraid to have conversations with people. Not yell at them, not try to overload them with facts. Let's have a conversation, and maybe they leave that conversation and go do research on their own. That's how you activate them. We've got to have ideas, right? Go ahead.
Well, if nothing else, it gives you a better understanding, right? Let's go. Let's look at Bill. My thoughts on Bill Maher. Like, I've been listening to Bill Maher for a long time, right? And his thing with Trump and Kid Rock and Dana White and all them now, and how people just freaking the fuck out over, like, why on both sides, right? Over that. And it's like, why can't people have dinner and fucking communicate, talk about shit? Like,
why do we have to be enemies?
Fuck? Like, separate and continue to call each other names and whatever.
That's what they want.
But like, whatever, that's fine. But at some point, stop and have a fucking conversation. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, we don't have to always agree, but the conversation's where it needs to happen. Go ahead, Junior.
We are sitting here and we're talking about this, and what I challenge your audience and anybody else listening is step out of your echo chamber. Right now, we're in an echo chamber. We're preaching to the choir. We're talking to ourselves. Now's the time is to step out of your echo chamber. Go have the conversation with your neighbors, your friends, your family. And yes, it's going to be hard. But be, like I like to say to people when I tell them to contact your senators.
America's not easy, bro. America's not easy.
No. But like I said, like I like to say, when people talk to their senators and congressmen, go in, have a polite conversation. Be polite. Get them to open up their mind, open up their ideals, their thought process. Don't be rude. Don't overload them, but try to activate them and go step outside of it. Because the more we step outside of it, and this starts from everywhere from the person working behind the gun counter to you and the audience here talking to their friends and neighbors, to talking to somebody at church or talking to somebody at the elementary school picnic, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Be polite and get out of the echo chamber, especially when it comes to all these new gun owners and these new people. Just go out and just have the conversation, because they don't know any better. They don't know what the laws are. They don't know what's going on. They don't know that they could lose these rights. Like Chase said, during the big cough, these people, there's something inside of them that changed, that they wanted to become gun owners.
As a community, we treated a lot of those new gunners like shit right off the bat. Not saying us, but our community, we were not the most welcoming community in the world. Let's just be honest.
And so since that, you've got the cough, you've got the Floyd thing, you've got the Elon Tesla stuff going on now that is also freaking people out. The crazy left, and more importantly, make no mistake, those are all paid people for the most part. They're sales of paid people that rile other people, followers and lemmings and sheeple up to do all of that kind of stuff, but it creates upheaval and unrest, and that's brought on high from very wealthy people that want to fundamentally change this country. Make no mistake, that's where that shit's coming from. It ain't grassroots. But it scares people into what you're talking about, Junior, too. So not only was it the cough and the government lockdowns and Big Daddy government saying, we're going to force you to do this or that, right? It was also the scare that, holy crap, look at the unrest going on. I mean, people are setting fires with Teslas, and they're burning down businesses and all this other crap too.
I mean, so here's the thing. We have to be open, right? We have to understand from our side that as much as something like burning Teslas or burning the U.S. flag might piss us off, it's the right to do that.
Wrong.
We could also, is it wrong?
No, I said that's wrong. If you got the right to destroy somebody else's property, no. Now, if you buy that flag and you burn it in protest, yes.
I'm talking about burning the
If
flag.
you
Yes,
buy,
you burn
if
a
you buy a
flag.
Tesla and you burn it, the problem is they're firebombing other people's Teslas, and yeah,
Well,
you can't do
that's
that.
that's a criminal. That's a criminal thing.
You
Yeah,
can
but
stand on the
there-
corner with a "I hate Elon, don't buy a Tesla, fuck Trump" sign all you want and scream and chant and sing. I agree with you there. That's fine.
Yep.
You throw a firebomb onto a car lot, no.
No, I'm not talking about
Yeah.
criminal acts. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
but you said
the
set a
rights of
Tesla on
expression.
fire, though.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't watch news anymore, so
Oh.
I don't know people were setting Teslas on fire. That's
Yeah.
new to me. I don't watch that shit. So that's wrong. But as far as what we can do to express ourselves, that's the thing is we need to get the other side to understand that as much as they fight for their rights of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of this, that, and the other, they need to understand, like, I think, I don't know, there's Clover, whoever said it earlier, these are their rights too. Whether or not you choose to practice these rights doesn't mean that they're not our rights. And if you're going to respect the First Amendment, then you need to respect the Second Amendment. You don't have to practice it, but you need to understand it's there for a reason. Right. You got to respect it, and you've got to understand that it is the right of people to utilize that right. And I think that that's where it is. I think everything is, whether it's media, the government, whatever the cause is over the last 50 years, right? I think that we are as split and we are as fractured as we've been in 100 years right now. I don't know how to fix that, but conversations can't hurt. They can't hurt,
I often wonder if we're really as fractured as we think we are. Because somebody, every time, and I'm not picking on you, but every time I hear that, it makes me think, but are we really?
What the media would like.
We may not be. Yeah, it may be the media. It may be social media. It may be
if you go out
what you're hearing.
And talk to the average person on the street, most people can find common ground on just about everything.
You're right.
It's the fringe of either direction that are all.
By the way, the crazy far right, just as dangerous as the crazy far right.
Oh yeah. The fringes of either side are nuts. The problem is the left has gone so absolutely nuts that you can't be moderate anymore. If you don't agree with the crazy shit they push, all the different whatever this week's propaganda is, then you're wrong and you're evil. Yep. And that's why the election went the way it did this recent time, is because people are so disillusioned with all of it. Everybody's like, can we just live our life and be normal and just do our thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've said this publicly, and I think we all probably, to some extent, I am sick and tired of having to choose every 4 years of the lesser of two evils. I've said this publicly. I'm waiting for my Kennedy. I'll never see it. I'll never see it. The person that comes in and truly wants to heal America. Doesn't happen anymore. Doesn't exist anymore. That's how you win elections.
I don't know that it can, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll never happen.
With the media nowadays, and I don't know that
it'll never happen.
You owe too many people to get there, no matter what your intentions are when you're trying to get there.
Yep.
I have friends that are congressmen and senators, and I'm sure all you guys do too. And to a T, every single one of those people, whether they're Republican or Democrat, to a T, they all show up to Washington like Mr. Smith, right? They want to do good. They have every intention on doing what they think is best for America, to make America great again, if you want to use that phrase. Within 2 weeks, they're told how it runs. And either you're on board, or they're going to find someone, even in your own party, they're going to find someone to run against you in 2 years if you don't fall in line. That's how it is. Your own party will put someone else up against you in primaries if you don't fall in line. That's reality. And that's where we are right now. It's like whoever said, I think it was Chase, if you're not with me, you're against me. That's how we are right now. That's sad. I hate that. Great conversation. Appreciate every guys. I'm gonna go through the room. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get some stuff done. We got a little bit to talk about in the after chat. We'll let's see here. Let's start with Chris. Chris, what you got going on? By the way, Chris has some new merch coming down the line.
Is his merch crass?
His merch is badass. I'll say that. I just might have
Not
created a
crass.
new word. I don't know if
Badass.
crass. We'll call it crass. That's a damn good thing.
Crass is a
Some
word.
good shit. Is it? I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I said, I fucking eat crayons, dude. I don't have a vocabulary. But Chris, what you got going on with your channel and all that? Tell people where they can find some of your new merch. That Fat Tack hat right there.
Yeah, so I partnered up with Fat Tack, and they're distributing my merch right now. We have hats and shirts available right now. There will be more stuff coming down the line.
That flat build, obviously, I like flat build hats, but that flat build 740 hat is fire, bro. Fire.
Yeah, I really like the guy they have designing the logos over there. We just kind of went back and forth for a couple weeks and finally settled on something. And so yeah, that's was pretty exciting for me because they kind of handle everything for me where I don't have to do anything. So
exactly. Yeah.
That was super cool. Yeah, I got back to the old thing again. It's going to be a lot of optic reviews here over the next few weeks.
And oh, by the way, you're getting ready to go to NRAM, where a lot of shit's getting ready to happen even more now. So
yeah, well, I won't be at NRAM, so.
Oh, you're not? Well, okay. Well, there's still a bunch of stuff coming out of NRAM that you'll probably having to work with.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I got a lot of videos gonna be coming out here shortly, and I think the one I'm the most excited about would be the Judge XL because this optic is phenomenal. What they did with it, and it's gonna go right on Chase's Match X. So. We'll have the Match X back out on the channel here for a while, and looking forward to it. So this is a great conversation, and Ironsight out there, that was awesome. You brought this up.
Fuck yeah, that was great. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't say this, is I don't give a shit. I don't fucking ask people ever to share my shit. I don't care if you share my shit. This conversation, share this shit, right?
Yeah.
Not because I give a shit about my numbers. I don't give a damn. But the conversation needs to be shared. So if you're out there, share this because that's where we start the conversation, right? Is we're having, like someone said, we're having a big conversation in our own echo chamber. We've got to get this conversation outside the echo chamber, right? So yeah. If you're not familiar, if you're out there and you're new to this, and especially if someone did share this and you're watching this from the future or listening to this from the future, and you're not familiar with these people, if you're interested in watching fantastic product reviews with maybe, I'm going to say, a top 5 cinematography in our community, go check out Christmas 740. He's doing great work, but he does great quality work as well. Thanks for coming on, brother. I'm really proud of you. I know you're getting ready to blow the fuck up, I think, and I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate it, man. You guys have, you guys, everybody on this panel is just great friends, and I never got to meet any of you if I wouldn't have started doing this YouTube thing. So I'm very.
Who would have thunk, right? Who would have thunk that? Everyone in here are dear personal friends of mine, right? And I wouldn't know a single one of you fuckers without guns in this community. It's pretty crazy to think about. Ginger, I'm going to give you things for not only talking from your own personal opinions, but you were kind of put in a situation where I didn't mean to, but you were kind of thrown in the position of a GOA position. I'm sure these are conversations that GOA wants to have happen anyways, but thanks for doing that as well.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. Go sign up and become a member of GOA. It's only $25. That's less than what you spend at McDonald's one time. $25 a year. You get you and 12 of your friends to sign up, please. It would be very helpful. So we can file some of these lawsuits. But we got some big things in the works. Super excited. Scott, I see your message. I'm going to bring that up to the dev team and see if that's something we can do. thought it was on there at one point, but we can always do more and better. And
I assumed that it would be. I didn't know that it wasn't. I just assumed that it would be. That's weird.
I'm assuming it would be up there too. I just don't know who to ask right now to find out.
And maybe it is. It's just maybe in an obscure place. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it. Again, get that grassroots army building up. Let's go. And new video out on FLR. Go watch the Kuna video, please. And like, subscribe, share.
Kuna Matata.
Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Oh, it was so hard not to say it the entire video.
And
it's a short from us. It's only 16 minutes long. We make some Ricky Bobby references.
Wow.
And I argue with Kurt about something, so you got to watch it to tell me I'm wrong.
How's Kurt doing, by the way? I'm happy for him. Is he get a little bit less stressed in his life right now, or is it even more stressful? I'm not sure which way it would go.
He just went out today with Barrett to go see what 50 cal will do to his targets, and you'd be surprised how well they held up.
Really? I would.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They held up really well. He sent me pictures. So, yeah, go check out TCRT targets. Go check out Kurt. Or my favorite saying for TCRT is touch Kurt right there. So
right there, baby.
But yeah, there is a code FLR10 saves you 10% out checkout for TCRT targets. So that we don't get any kickback from it, but that helps Kurt in his business.
Faux shizzle, my nizzle. Christopher. Hopefully your days are going to start getting a little bit better. I don't know, maybe.
I mean, as of late,
today
really
wasn't terrible.
Worse, so
yeah, that's true.
We'll go there. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yep. By the way, Chase isn't going to say this. I will say it for him because I don't represent EAA in any way. For all of you people that are worried about tariffs and prices going up 10 to 20% or whatever, there are great companies like EAA and other companies that are absorbing half or a big chunk of this tariff hike in prices themselves to not pass it on to the consumers. So if you're looking for companies that are trying to help the consumers instead of just saying, oh, we're going to pass a buck on, Chase won't say it, but I will say it. EAA is eating a large chunk of the increases so that you don't have to. So thank you for that, Chase. I know that was a difficult decision, honestly. In all seriousness, that had to have been a difficult decision because it's all about business. And if you're not making money, you're losing money.
It was. I mean, you saw the internal messages and things like that. But, I mean, we're literally lowering our gross profit to be able to do this. And we're not working on high margins to begin with.
And even if EAA charged off the entirety of the tariffs, it would still be a great fucking deal.
Absolutely. No, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff that we were able to not take an increase at all on. There's some stuff, things went up literally $1 or $2. Some stuff, unfortunately, had to go up, $20-$30. It's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
But there's no insanity stuff that's going on, unfortunately, with what's happening to our, accessory and optic and, other buddies out there.
Optics are going to be nuts, man.
It's rough for those guys right now. I mean, it's bad enough for us. And I know I'm living that dream right now, but those guys they're in for it. Unfortunately,
the optic companies, I think when it's all said and done, the optic companies, that's going to be the biggest hit in our industry is the optic company.
There's so much of that, though, that could there be a light at the end of the tunnel or a positive or a silver lining that maybe it thins the herd a bit?
I mean, it might.
Could be.
It might. It could. It could take the. How do you, I don't want to put it the criminal.
Trim the fat, basically.
It's going to trim the fat. It's going to make the posers get the fuck out of the game, and the real guys to stick around. But it's still going to hurt. Even though guys that stick around, it's still going to hurt. It's still going to hurt.
The big thing is what this is doing right now is it's revealing who's telling everybody the truth and who's not.
That's it.
Because if you're claiming to be, made
American
wherever.
made.
I mean, American made, or if you're trying to say you're all Japanese components or all whatever.
Yeah.
This is all coming out now. They're going, oh, there might be some Chinese stuff in this, or oh, there may be some Filipino stuff in this, or XYZ country. Doesn't matter, guns, optics, whatever. Everybody's where they.
It's ours is Japanese glass. Is it though? Is it all Japanese glass? Is it all German glass? So yeah.
The Philippines produces a lot of that stuff. What people don't realize is like a ton of the optic components come out of the Philippines.
Yep. Faux show. But thanks, from a personal position, thanks you and Keith. I know that you guys have had arguments, like little arguments over the last week. And I know that you guys are looking at spreadsheets and reading 10,000 page documents on a daily basis. And you and Keith, I'm not saying Paul doesn't, but I know that you and Keith are the ones that are making a lot of those decisions. And
it's all sunshine and rainbows. Hang in there. That's how it goes.
Hang in there, man. Hang in there. Clove will bring you in real quick and let you sweep the floor up. What you got going on, and any final thoughts as well.
So dropped a video on the AMT Auto Mag 2 yesterday.
Saw that. I did get that notification, but I did not get John's notification today.
For everybody that seems to think all these Poly Wonder 22 Magnums are innovative and new, and like, fuck you. That's been a concept that's 30 plus years old. So take a look at the OG, which is the best one. Screw who's making them now? The Taurus and the Keltec and all that junk. Not Taurus. Who is it? Walther has one, and the Keltec and all that junk not made out of metal. Screw all that stuff. What else is there? A lot of stuff here, trying to get things filmed and whatever, before in-round, before we got to head to Hotlanta. The Mac 9's here, so I've been playing with that one. That's a fun one. Speaking of MP5s earlier, and actually broke out the GSG 5 today.
Still better than the Kuna.
And kind of ran them. Yeah, I think so. Kind of ran them side by side, and what else? Oh, you were talking earlier. What did you say? You said something earlier.
I did. I'm not smart enough to remember what happened 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure it was like 100% like spiritual. What I said.
Yeah, it was something you said, and you was kind of talking about. Well, it kind of was. It kind of was. You were. It was something, and I can't remember, but I'll mention we'll just go with a vague premise or whatever, but It was something about like one side or one type of people was doing one thing.
I'm a pretty profound guy. I'm just saying.
And I would say that just a lot of what we talked about. We talked about the left does this and a lot of times we blame or we complain about things that we do ourselves, and like, don't be that type of person. Like if you're if you don't like that a lefty or a gun grabber or whatever does X, Y, and Z, then don't participate in that type of fucking activity yourself, please.
Absolutely.
Because that
beautifully said.
That's ridiculous. So practice what you preach, and I think that goes a long way, quite honestly, with communicating with other people and all of that.
Be a good fucking human being.
Yeah, please. Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Be an educated, good human being.
It's not hard to do. It's really not.
It's not. Nope. No, you can have a conversation without trying to change minds. You can have a conversation without being mean. You can have a change without even raising your fucking voice. You can have a conversation and just trust that maybe something you said hits them.
I remember what it was, and it was Chase, I think. And
I think if it was profound, it probably wasn't me.
Well, no, you doubled down on what he said. That's why I was thinking. But it was the whole: if you're not with us, you're against us.
Yeah.
And I see people that hate that, and then at the same time practice that shit. That's schoolyard, fucking elementary school, goddamn kindergarten bullshit behavior. Grow the fuck up.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and it's so true. I can't stand the left says that. Why are you saying it about one of your topics that you care about? Yeah, absolutely. Be a good fucking American. We have a lot of people around this world that are in uniform that are fighting to defend the Constitution that we take sometimes for granted. Be a good fucking human being. Be a good citizen, be a good neighbor, be a good friend, be a good father, be a good mother, be a good brother, sister, son, daughter, be a
Neighbor.
good person, and neighbor, be a good person, and you never know what you might be able to do if you're a good person. Get to the range, be more proficient with your firearms. Keep in touch with everything that's going on with your local, state, and federal 2A. GOA is a great place to find that shit out, right? Go check them out. Go check out Christmas 740. Go check out EAA. Go check out CloverTac. Do not check out any more of my stuff. Please do not unsubscribe if you haven't already. I do appreciate that. More importantly, enjoy your freedoms of being an American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll see you next week. Semper Fi.